The regular season is over, the play-in games start on Tuesday, and the playoffs officially start on Saturday, and I am excited for that. One of the matchups, we're going to get right to it quickly. It's actually the most interesting first-round series to me, outside of maybe Miami and Boston, because even though Miami just struggled shooting the ball this year, etc., they still feel like a team that nobody wants to play, especially given their pedigree. But the other first-round series in the East that I am looking forward to is the matchup in the 4-5 slot with the Cleveland Cavaliers having home court advantage with the 4th seed and the New York Knicks. And it's interesting for a lot of reasons. And in this video, I'm going to talk about 5 things that I'm in particular going to be watching for in this series. Outside of the, well, Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell have to play well. Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle are going to have to do their thing in order for the Knicks to get past the Cavaliers. I think this is actually going to be a close matchup. It's going to be a physical matchup, and probably one of these teams is going to be tired coming out of this series because it's going to be a bar fight. I think there are some games where it's going to be in the 90s to 100. So let's look at 5 things I'm looking for in this series. And it's not just like forecasting what I think is going to happen in the series, just things I'm going to watch for and see how they evolve as the series evolves, how the adjustments are made, the counter adjustments, etc., etc. So let's get to the first thing. First thing that immediately jumps to my mind, and this will tie into another point later, but I want to highlight this specific point because I think it's very important. The offensive rebounding is going to be crucial in this series, and I'm more so talking about the Knicks' ability to just pester on the glass, get offensive rebounds, battle on the glass, and not even get an offensive rebound, but battle on the glass so hard that it knocks off of a Cavalier and the Knicks get a new possession on the offensive end, which was kind of some of the stuff I saw going back and rewatching some of the regular season games between these two teams. Now, some of the games, they've had one key starter out, one key starter in, etc., but there are some things in all of these games that, you know, had a common thread, and offensive rebounding is one of them. And I specifically bring this up because, again, the Knicks are a top 3 offensive rebounding team this year. They finished top 3 in offensive rebounding. They're second in offensive rebounding rate per cleaning the glass. But since the All-Star break, the Cavs actually rank 28th in total rebounds per game. They've been a low-key a bad rebounding team despite having Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley, even though Jarrett Allen had been in and out of the lineup a little bit post-All-Star break. It's just something that you don't expect from a team that is starting 2 bigs. But if you look at the rest of the roster, it kind of makes sense. Obviously, starting with the small backcourt and then constantly having to figure out who the 5th guy, the 5th starter in that lineup is going to be between Okoro, Dean Wade, Chetty Osman, Lamar Stevens, etc. So when you think about it, outside of Mobley and Allen, obviously there's no Kevin Love there anymore, especially after the buyout, and there's no Lauri Markkanen there either, so you don't have the plethora of bigs that you did last year. So it does kind of make sense that they are 25th overall on the year in terms of rebounding, but since the All-Star break, they are 28th. That's going to be a matchup to watch. If the Cavs cannot keep the Knicks off the offensive glass, if they cannot finish their defensive possessions, and the Cavs have the best defense in the NBA per cleaning the glass, the Knicks are going to generate extra possessions, and the Cavs in turn could lead to fouls, that could lead to kickouts for 3. We all see games, we all know that happens 100% of the time. Get an offensive rebound, kick it back out, and it just seems like a 3 goes in 100% of the time. And the Knicks just dominated the offensive glass in 3 out of their 4 regular season matchups, and those 3 where they dominated, Mitchell Robinson started, and that's kind of the common denominator here, especially in the last game that the Knicks and Cavs played. Mitchell Robinson had 9 offensive rebounds. So the glass is going to be an important one. They're going to have to keep the Knicks off the offensive glass if they want to avoid the quote-unquote upset by a 5th seed. So that's the first thing I'm going to be watching for. Number 2, I'm going to be looking at how both teams pack the paint and guard the non-shooters in the starting lineups or in any iteration of lineups they use. Basically, the non-shooters. I'm looking to see how the Cavs and Knicks defend each other. The Cavs specifically, this comes to mind for me because in a few of their games, I've seen the thing they do where they sag off Evan Mobley if he's at the 3-point line, and they also sag off of either Isaac Okoro or Lamar Stevens, and that paint gets packed. And I'm going to be interested to see if Mobley, Okoro, Lamar Stevens, whoever is starting at that 3 spot for the Cavs, if they're going to keep shooting, if they keep missing, or if the wheels start churning in their head a little bit. And we'll get to Mobley in a second because I think this could be a big chance for him to have his stamp breakout series. But we've seen teams kind of guard the Cavs this way. We've seen teams also kind of just let RJ Barrett shoot a bunch of threes for the Knicks. And RJ Barrett has just been... I'm still holding on to my RJ Barrett stock, but man, it's getting harder and harder every day. He's inefficient still. His decision-making isn't great, and he just still hasn't found the touch from 3-point range, and I'm wondering how the Cavs are going to defend that, if they're going to let Julius Randle, if they're going to be content with Julius Randle shooting open threes, or letting him cook in isolation and taking a off-the-dribble 3, if the Cavs are going to be fine with that. And if they defend him in such a way where they make it clear that they do not care and Julius Randle can get all the threes they want as long as he is not bullying his way to the rim, drawing fouls, and just cooking people in isolation on the block. So that is going to be another one. How are they going to guard the non-shooters, and how are they going to load up on, how each team is going to load up on the other team's key guys by packing the paint and doing the pick your poison thing where, well, we're going to let RJ shoot all the threes he wants. We are going to pack guys in the paint, or we're going to let Evan Mobley shoot his 4 or 5 threes a game. We will live with that. We will let Lamar Stevens shoot those corner threes. Isaac Okoro has really shown strides as a shooter, especially post-New Year, but you can definitely count on, a Tom Thibodeau coach team to treat Isaac Okoro like the 33% career 3-point shooter that he is. And he's going to have to take those threes with no hesitation and knock it down, because coming off of Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell pick and roll between the two bigs, Mobley and Allen, you can bet your ass that Okoro is going to get some open looks. Mobley's definitely going to get some open looks also. And guys on the Knicks are also going to get open threes. But the RJ Barrett thing and the Cavs 5th starter, who's going to be the 3, is it Okoro, Wade, Osman, leads into my next point. Caris LeVert and Emmanuel Quickley, the 2 6th men for their respective teams. Caris LeVert has been everything for the Cavs this year. He has been very malleable. Whatever role he is asked to play in, if he needs to start in spot duty when one of Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland was out this year, LeVert stepped in and performed roles as a playmaker, a lead scorer, getting after it on defense, like the entire team on the Cavs does. They all get after it defensively. LeVert has just done so many good things for the Cavaliers this year, filling in the gaps where needed. And I think he's definitely earned an extension with the Cavs this summer. Whether, that extension will be good value or not will remain to be seen. But Caris LeVert has been awesome for the Cavs this year. And if it's clear that the final answer as the series evolves is starting Caris LeVert at the 3, or not even starting Caris LeVert at the 3, but more so close games as the 3 for the Cavaliers, that is what I'm going to be looking for to see if they get to that point. If the other options get hesitant shooting or gun-shy shooting from 3, if Osman becomes a turnstile on defense and also goes on one of his patent cold streaks, then don't be surprised if LeVert closes those games. Same thing with the Knicks. Immanuel Quickley looks like he's going to win 6th Man of the Year. Ever since the Josh Hart trade, Tom Thibodeau has had more options to close games with, because one thing has been clear with the RJ Barrett thing. Thibodeau has no problem benching RJ Barrett if he needs to in favor of Immanuel Quickley or Josh Hart, and lineups with Immanuel Quickley in the bench unit have been great for the Knicks. Immanuel Quickley has taken a jump this year. He brings that spark plug energy as a shooter, as a secondary playmaker, somebody who has really made a lot of strides defensively. I talked about Immanuel Quickley in my Knicks video last month or a month and a half ago, but that dude cannot be screened. Like, he just avoids screens and is able to stick to the ball handler like no other. So Immanuel Quickley for the Knicks, that is also going to be my X factor in every game this season against the Cavaliers. He has been excellent in his role, providing a spark off the bench. And don't be surprised if JB Bickerstaff and Tom Thibodeau have to make tough decisions and close with their spark plug bench guys. Or maybe in some cases, maybe I could see it more on the Knicks side more than anything, especially if they get in a bind, like say if they go down 0-2. Would not be surprised if Tom Thibodeau makes a change and either starts Josh Hart or Immanuel Quickley over RJ Barrett if he is struggling in that series. So Caris LeVert and Immanuel Quickley, the super sub ball handlers, secondary third ball handlers for their respective teams, those are the two guys I'm going to be looking at and seeing how they will be used in different lineup combinations or a break in case of emergency type of situation. Those are the two guys I'm going to be watching. Number 4 is the matchup between the Cavs defense and the Knicks offense. Per Cleaning the Glass, the Knicks are finished the year second in offensive rating behind the Sacramento Kings and just a smidge ahead of the Denver Nuggets. And I've talked about it before, but they do it in kind of an unconventional way compared to the other top offenses in the league. The Knicks get to the free throw line a lot. They play a lot of isolation through Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. And they also crash the offensive glass like no other team. They play so hard, especially when it comes to crashing the glass, and Mitchell Robinson is just a bear on the offensive glass, especially in this 4-game regular season series between these two teams. And that's how they also generate extra possessions. They also do not turn the ball over. They are a top 3 team when it comes to taking care of the ball. And that's kind of an interesting contrast compared to some of the strengths of the Cavs defense. You know, they have the 2 bigs, so they're going to have a tall task keeping the Knicks off of the offensive glass. They are also a defense that forces a lot of turnovers. I believe they have the 4th highest opponent turnover percentage out of all the defenses in the NBA. But also, they are middle of the pack in terms of opponent free throw rate, which is something the Knicks excel at. They're a top 10 team when it comes to getting to the line and free throw rate, and the Cavs are going to have to defend without fouling, which is going to be hard because Julius Randle's going to burrow his way, lefty drives, spin moves, tough shots, pump fakes, etc. Jalen Brunson with his herky-jerky style, and Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. Probably Donovan Mitchell because that was the primary guy guarding Brunson in these regular season games. But they're going to have a tough time stopping the shiftiness of Jalen Brunson. And obviously the Cavs are going to have, or the Knicks are going to have a tough time stopping the guards on the other end. But in terms of this specific matchup between the Cavs defense and the Knicks offense, because the Knicks offense is so unconventional, there's a question of can they sustain the elements of their offense that have made them so successful. And with the Cavs, they do force a lot of turnovers. They are middle of the pack in terms of, opponent free throw rate, but they are a smart defense, and as the series goes on, teams are going to get used to each other, their cadences, the rhythm dribbles, all that stuff. So I imagine the fouls will shore up a bit, plus it's the playoffs, so we all know the refs might call it a little tight. But the Knicks are definitely going to be crashing the glass, and they're definitely going to be getting some free throws because Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle all year have proven that they are hard to guard. And the Cavs defense, one of the best in the NBA. They have a Defensive Player of the Year candidate in Evan Mobley. They're going to have their hands full, so I cannot wait to see that battle. And that brings me to my last and final point, and that is Evan Mobley. As you know, my latest video, I talked about the evolution of Evan Mobley offensively. Defensively, he's taken another leap. He's going to be top 3 in a lot of people's Defensive Player of the Year rankings, voting, whatever. He'd be in my personal top 3. But offensively, this is going to be the playoff series where if Evan Mobley continues his offensive evolution, there is going to be some form of a breakout playoff series for him. And it starts right here with the Knicks, because with what Mobley has shown, I do not think there is a big on the Knicks that can guard Evan Mobley. With Mobley's combination of quickness, his quick jump, his ability to handle, his passing, how the Cavs have leaned into him more and more as an offensive hub in the post, in the high post, how frequently they use him in pick and rolls with Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, and how he's just catching everything in sight and finishing at the rim. The Knicks are going to have a tough time dealing with Evan Mobley. My things I'm looking for with Evan Mobley, can he continue to move people and show off his new strength that he has accumulated throughout the year, especially when he started hitting the weight room in January. But also, as I mentioned earlier, if he is parked on the three-point line at times in some possessions and the Knicks, sag off of him, is he going to be hesitant shooting threes? Is he going to chew up the space that the Knicks leave him? Is Evan Mobley going to be doing different stuff off the ball while Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell cook? I'm interested to see how the Cavs use Mobley in this particular matchup, because I truly think he is the X factor in this series. I think a big with his versatile skill set and how he has evolved offensively, I think that's the game breaker in a series that you need. And I'm just really looking forward to seeing what Evan Mobley does against this Knicks team. So those are the things I'm going to be watching. And again, it's not like predicting what I think is going to happen. There are just things that I am interested in tracking as the series goes on, because I think these things can potentially swing a series outside of obviously the stars of each team playing really well, because you need that. But let me know in the comments below what you think will be crucial to the series. Do you think, if you're not a Cavs fan, do you think the Knicks have a chance at upsetting the Cavs? If you are a Knicks fan, what are you worried about in this series? If you're a Cavs fan, what are you worried about in this series? Let me know in the comments below. Let's talk some hoops.